Here we go. Take two. When I see these people, I notice right away the expression on their face is different. And I think to myself, I want that expression because their smile is brighter. Their face looks relaxed. I swear there is an extra spring in their step. I might even go so far as to say there is a halo that tends to originate around their head. And this is all because they have retired. And I think inside my head, I really want that expression and I want everything that comes with it. And as soon as I see this person, the first question I ask is, how is retirement? Welcome to the Middle School Madness. This is a podcast about teaching and things that are interesting to teachers. My name is Oliver Weah, and I am a 26-year veteran of the middle school classroom. And today I just wanted to talk a little bit about retirement and planning the end of your career in really broad terms. As a veteran in my building, as I have worked my way through the ranks of first-year teacher to 15 years to 26 years teaching, the number one question that I get is, Oliver, when are you going to retire? And this is a big question to handle. It's broad, it's huge. There's a lot of moving variables in this from the lifestyle you've chosen, and it is not easy to wrap your head around it. But in a very broad stroke, here is what I have as a teacher in the state of Pennsylvania. I really am the beneficiary of a lot of people who came before me and all of their efforts because I still have a defined benefit pension system. Thank you, Pennsylvania. And I am lucky enough to have started teaching in the year 1997, 1998. So I have a true classic pension that I have been paying into for 27 years. And when my time comes to retire, there is a formula that I can repeat, but I do not know the correct calculations. It is your years of service times a multiplier of 2.5 times your 3 highest years' salary will be your retirement when you get out. And in the state of Pennsylvania, we also pay into Social Security, so you also get that as well. And hopefully throughout your career, you have been paying into a 403B. This is really nice. I'm not going to kid you. There is a lot of satisfaction in looking to some of the numbers that I've looked at, even though I could be 4 or 5 years away. I also have started getting literature, and because I get that question in my hallway of when are you going to retire, that question alone is like the sirens on the shore calling you in to get you off the boat of teaching in public education. And so you've got to look into this, because it is very complicated. And I am by no means a financial person. I am by no means a life coach. I am the person who is beginning to think about this because the time has come to look into retirement. And in broad strokes, we've got to take care of the finances first. We want those to be taken care of. We also want to make sure that we have a purpose when we leave teaching. What are we going to do when we are finally out of teaching? And these are big, big, big questions. So I can tell you now, if you are new to teaching and you have just started out, frankly, in teaching or in any job, start saving today. Whether you pay into a 403B like myself or a 401k, you are in your 20s and 30s, you want to start putting away money today. It is the long distance runner in me that says this. I know that I can train for a half marathon and a marathon if I run a little bit every day and put money away. Same thing goes for savings. But we also know the adage, which is true, and I've never heard anybody tell me that it's not, that the more money you save in your 20s and 30s, that money is just going to grow and get bigger by the time you go to retire in your late 50s, mid 60s, or whatever. If you don't start saving till later, operative word later, then you will have less money because you saved later. These are things that we know to be true. So you've got to start looking into it. I am going to look into it. There are a lot of variables, and those are going to work themselves out. But I have found myself at school thinking about, what am I going to do after retiring? Because when you're a teacher, there is this purpose every day. You have goals, you have objectives, you have standards, and they all need to be met. And they need to be met 5 days a week for 180 days, for however many weeks we are teaching. And it gives you a great purpose and a great drive every day for many, many weeks, for many, many months, for many, many years and decades, until the next thing you know, 26 years has gone by. And you say to yourself, what am I going to do when my teaching career has ended, when my public service is over? And I found myself looking at the door the other day. I was at the door, I was making my rounds in the hallway, and I looked out the door and I see this person leaving our front entrance and getting into their car and driving away. And my thought was, I've never done that. I've never done that. I honestly don't know what's out there. I don't know what people in the business world do. I have no concept of life outside of these walls. I show up at 7:25. I stay till the end of the day at 2:55. Many years and days I have worked past that just to get the job done. But what is out there during the day? And that really got me thinking, what would be my purpose outside of the building when I am not teaching? For I will have spent almost 3 decades teaching. What do you do? Do you still have a passion? Do you still have a purpose? And what will that purpose be? Now, I want to say, luckily for me, 2 things have naturally fallen into my lap throughout my career. One of those is photography and video, and the other is just trying to be physically fit. There is a hobby for everybody. You probably have a hobby, and you may or may not call it your hobby. Think about that hobby. Think about what you would do with that hobby, where that hobby could take you. And when I say take you, I don't mean take you to a place that earns you more money. I guess I say take you to a place where you could be surrounded by people who have that hobby that you do. You know, maybe you get to travel to the origination of your hobby, or you can go with a group that enjoys your hobby. Anything that involves you with a hobby is, I think, the best way to go. And now you begin the planning of your retirement, for you've discovered a hobby. I would love to take my camera, any camera, my multiple cameras, and whether I go to locations in the United States or not, or whether I go to locations abroad, to take a picture that says, there is a memory, or do that. Or to go to France and ride my bike and pretend for one glorious moment I am Jonas Vingegaard going up a steep incline. Or maybe you tie flies and you just want to go fly fishing in some of the best locations of the world. Start your planning today for your retirement. That's what you want to do. That's what I've begun to dream about. Would I really, at maybe 60 or 61, get a van and travel the continental United States just to go take pictures of places I have never been to? That is a dream that sometimes gets me through the day of teaching. And I love having that dream. I think that's a great dream. And you as a teacher want to begin to plan for that dream, because I have heard stories in the hallway of one of the sad parts of being a teacher is because you have given so much of yourself, your heart, your soul, a purpose every day to your profession, that when that profession stops, you stop. And we don't want that to be the case, because you have so many great qualities as a teacher. You're motivated. You're going to grind it out. You're going to stick with it. You tend to love people. You're a hard worker. Have a hobby. Find a passion. Go after that passion and make that something that you want to do. So next to all the financial stuff, you got to discover this within yourself. And hopefully it shouldn't be too hard, because you've grown and you've looked around and there's things that you might do outside of the building, and boom, you can go and do them. And as I got that question in my hallway, Oliver, when are you going to retire? It reminds me of what I want to do. And honestly, if anyone in my building hears this, well, I don't think they will, but you know exactly what I am going to do. When I get within that 2 to 3 window before I retire, and I've got to go cover a class, I want to take some regular envelopes. Want to type up a little story about my time, keep it short, maybe a paragraph. Maybe I find a whole bunch of, I don't know, $5 bills. Give it the old $5 bill. And so I put the story in the envelope and I slide a $5 bill, because everybody likes finding money, you know. And when I get coverage for another person's class, I'm going to slide that envelope into the desk. Yes, hide it. And I don't know how well I want to hide it. This is the problem of one of my daydreams. Do I slip it into like a folder somewhere where they may or may not find it in 5 or 10 years? Do I tape it underneath of their desk drawer so after like 20 years the tape runs out and it falls and there's the yellow envelope with this shaded white piece of paper in my paragraph and someone says, "Who the heck is Oliver?" Hey, I like this guy. He just gave me $5. But I want to do that because I think it would be fun to then visualize my final day where I get to address everybody in the faculty, whoever may be there, and let them know that they may or may not have a $5 bill hidden somewhere in their desk because that's where I have put it. In many ways, I'm sharing my retirement with them. Okay? We didn't even touch upon healthcare. That is a whole nother conversation. But discover your passion. What is that passion? Discover your purpose outside of the walls of your building. Begin to dream about what you would do when you are not labeled a teacher, but you are labeled a retired teacher. Well, there's the bell. Sounds like class is over. It is time to go wash up, punch out, and leave the building to discover life outside of the most glorious playground in there, a classroom. My name is Oliver Weah. Thanks for spending the last couple minutes with me. I hope your retirement planning is going well, and we will talk to you in the next one.